Right, we're looking at chapter 7 now, and chapter 7 is called Algebraic Methods, but I like to split chapter 7 into two parts, which is why I've called it chapter 7A. Chapter 7A is about the factor theorem, which is really to do with algebraic fractions and division, and then 7B is proof. So they're quite separate to each other. I don't know why they've decided to put them into one chapter. We're just going to be doing the first half of this chapter, which is going to be the factor theorem. So what we're going to do, probably in today's lesson, we'll do algebraic fractions, and we're going to do some bits on dividing polynomials. So we're actually going to learn how to do division now with algebra. We know how to do expanding brackets. We're now going to learn, finally, to know how to do dividing with algebra. And then we're going to look at something called the factor theorem, which is all going to make sense given all the stuff we've just been doing on graphs and transformations. We're just going to dive straight in with algebraic fractions for the first topic that we've got, okay? So first of all, we want to learn about how to simplify algebraic fractions. Luckily, this does come up an awful lot in GCSE as well, but there's going to be some new things here that make it feel a bit more A-level-y, okay? So when you have a fraction that's like this, that is just being divided by x, you can either see this as each individual thing being divided by x, or you can see it as this whole bit on the top being divided by x. So I'm going to show you maybe a couple of ways of doing this question. One of the ways you could do this is you could just write it as 7x to the power of 4 divided by x minus 2x cubed divided by x plus 6x divided by x. I'm allowed to do that because if I had this question where they all have a common denominator, you know that you'd just be able to put them all together because they have a common denominator. So you can do that same thing in reverse of splitting them into 3 different pieces like that. Now that I've split them into those 3 pieces, we can do simplifying with each bit individually.
So you know, what if one of the top numbers didn't have an x?
If it didn't have an x, I will actually, I'll do that afterwards. Will you remind me when I finish this, and I'll do one of them afterwards with it when it doesn't have an x. So what would this first bit simplify to?
7x cubed.
7x cubed, and then
2x
minus 2x squared
and
plus 6, okay? I'm now going to imagine what Jamil just said. Let's just pretend that it was 7x to the 4 minus 2x cubed plus 6 divided by x. He said, what if there wasn't an x in this bit that we would have? Well, I would have 7x to the 4 over x, the same, 2x cubed over x, the same, plus 6 over x. So I would still have 7x cubed minus 2x squared, but what would the last bit be? Plus 6 over x, or plus 6x to the minus 1. Okay, so it doesn't all have to have an x in there if it doesn't. Okay, that's the first way that you could do that question. The alternative way, and you may not need to write this one down, is I might have factorized the top. What could I take out of the top as a common factor? X. So I have x, then I would have 7x cubed minus 2x squared plus 6, and that is being divided by x. Yeah, because this bracket is being multiplied by x and it's being divided by x, which we know are the inverse operations of each other, so they can cancel out and you get left with 7x cubed minus 2x squared plus 6. Okay? I think both of those are kind of similar to each other. I don't know which one I would have done. I probably would have done this kind of cancelling one. I suppose what you could also do, there's probably like a fourth way or a third way you could do this one, and I don't think you should necessarily write this one down. Because they all feature x, you're allowed to do cancelling out as long as every single bit features x. So I could cancel this x. I could change the 4 to a 3 because I'm dividing by x. I could change the 3 to a 2 because I'm dividing by x. And I could get rid of the x like this. So that you can see you're left with 7x cubed minus 2x squared plus 6. So there's kind of like a few different ways of thinking about that. I would say the way that you're most likely to look at it is probably the first one that I did here in blue. This is probably then the second most likely way. This is when if you're doing like higher level maths, you might want to be cancelling things out quicker. But you can only do that if they all had x. Otherwise you can't cancel all the way through because you're effectively dividing every single thing by x. But I'm going to remove that from there because I think it's making it look a bit messy. Okay, so the next one that we're going to do here, it says x squared minus 1 over x squared plus x. So to simplify algebraic fractions, we're really looking to be cancelling out factors that they have in common. So we're going to deal with the numerator and the denominator separately to each other. When you look at the numerator, I'm hoping a phrase is popping into your head. Khadija? Good, the difference of two squares. Okay, we have the difference of two squares here. This is going to factorise into x plus 1, x minus 1. And also, factorising is going to be your best friend in this topic. What can I do to the denominator? X plus 1. So now I've got that something is being multiplied by x plus 1 and it's also being divided by x plus 1. Multiplying by x plus 1 and dividing by x plus 1 cancels out. So I can cancel this by dividing the top and bottom by x plus 1. And I am just left with x minus 1 over x. So the fraction has simplified. What this really means is if you substituted in a value of x into this expression, and you substituted the same value of x into this expression, you would get the identical output because they are the same expressions. They just look different to each other. Okay, so the one that I've got at the bottom here, we know that it is going to simplify. And I already want to start making some suggestions that is going to make life easier for you. Now, because I know this is going to simplify, or I think it's going to simplify, the denominator has an x plus 1. So when I factorise the numerator, there's a pretty strong likelihood that one of the brackets is an x plus 1, which means that the other bracket is probably going to be an x plus 2. All you need to do is check to see that that actually expands correctly. Does it expand correctly? It does. So use the information in the denominator to think, I wonder if this is going to help me to do the factorising. And then we can cancel the x plus 1s, and we just get that that whole expression simplifies to x plus 2. Familiar from GCSE? Good. Pardon? You don't remember this? Okay, that's good. Because remember, you had a bit of a difficult end of the year with it as well. So we're going to do 2 more examples, and you can definitely see these look a bit more A-level-y. They definitely look a bit more challenging here. Now, if I was going to ask you to factorise these 2 quadratics, which one do you think your eye would go to first to factorise, and why? The bottom one. Why? It's easier. It's easier because there's no coefficient in front of the x. So we're going to factorise the bottom one first. X plus 5, x plus 4. And then we're going to try and think about how we factorise the top one. What did I just say in that previous example? Use the denominator to help you. So I think there's probably going to be an x plus 4 in this top one, because then I'm going to be able to have it cancel with this x plus 4. The reason I didn't think there was going to be an x plus 5 in there is because 5 is not going to be a factor of 12. And so then what do we think the other bracket is going to be that would 2x plus 3? Now you can't just write that, you have to check that it actually works. So then you can just check for yourself, okay, you've got your 2x squared, you've got 3x, and you've got 8x. 3x and 8x is 11x, and you've got the 12 that goes to that. So use the denominator. Use the denominator to help you factorise the numerator. And then we can cancel the x plus 4 because they're multiplying and dividing by x plus 4, which leaves us with 2x plus 3 divided by x plus 5. And then this last one is especially important because it's different, very different to GCSE. They wouldn't ask you this question at GCSE, and we'll see why in just a second. Okay, numerator. What do you think of when you see the numerator? Difference of 2 squares. Okay, this numerator is going to be a difference of 2 squares, which will be what, Amina? 2 minus x, 2 plus x. Okay. Quick reminder, difference of 2 squares, if you have x squared minus y squared, you'll have x plus y, x minus y, or the other way around, okay? And what about the denominator? That should be quite easy to factorise. X plus 4, x minus 2. Now,
It's the 2 on the right.
the 2 on the right, are these the same as each other? No, they're not the same as each other. The top part is the difference of 2 squares. So this is a square number, and this is a square number. And so if this is a true factor, if you expand this, you would get x squared minus y squared. So the x squared here is 4, which is why I'm then putting 2 in these places. And the y squared bit is actually an x squared bit. So you put the x in those places. This is called the difference of two squares. It's really, really, really common, okay? If I just do another example, if I had something like 16 minus 4y squared, the square root of 16, it would be a 4 in the brackets for those bits. What would be this bit in here and here? Minus 2y and plus 2y, because it's the square root of that bit and the square root of that bit, okay? So coming back to this example that we've got here, do any of them cancel out? No, they all look different to each other, okay? Because this one we've got 2 minus x, and this one is x minus 2. They are different to each other. Does anybody know what we can do here? Because they look different, but they also look kind of similar. Proverb.
The top part you can just factorize by minus.
Good. You can factor out a minus. Now I'm just going to see what happens here. If I just concentrate on this one bit, I'm not going to be looking at the whole thing. I just want to look at this one thing that I've got. If I take a negative out of that bit, this would negate, so I would have minus 2. This would negate, so I would have plus x. Just make sure, so when you take a negative out, you negate everything inside that bracket. Notice how I'm only doing it outside that bracket. If I negated this and I negated this, I've taken out a negative and I've taken out a negative, which is pointless. I've negated the 2 to become a minus 2, and I've negated the minus x to become a plus x. And I took out a negative. If you expand these brackets, you would have negative times negative 2, which is positive 2, negative times positive x, which is negative x. So I've just rewritten that yellow bit, and I'm going to highlight it now as written like this. I'm going to keep everything else the same, so I still have 2 plus x, and I'm still going to write on the bottom, I have x plus 4, x minus 2. What can I do now? I can cancel them out, because although I'm going to write one more line to make this even clearer, this thing and this thing are the same as each other. Yeah? Because it's x minus 2 and minus 2 plus x, they're the same thing. So if I wrote that in a different order, I would have x minus 2, 2 plus x, all over. So I can cancel out those. And I have minus, brackets, 2 plus x over x plus 4. Yeah, I want to talk a bit more about what I can do further to this. So there's two things I need to mention here that are really, really important. One of them is the brackets. Why are the brackets so important here? Because I'm subtracting that whole thing. If you wrote minus 2 plus x, you are wrong, because the negative is applying to the whole expression.
So minus 2 minus x.
So it's either, if you want to, you could write it as minus 2 minus x over x plus 4. That's fine. Or you could have written it as 2 plus x over x plus 4, and you could put a minus to the left of the fraction. You either have the negative in the top, in the numerator, and you bracket it to show that the whole thing is negated. You either multiply out by the negative here, or you write the negation, the negative, outside the very front of the fraction. Okay, let me just scroll down so you can see that clearly. Any of those would work, okay? Any of those would work. I personally have a preference for this one, for knowing where you're going to go with calculations, because you can clearly see that negative is applying to both of them. This one starts to get a little bit messy for me. I don't think it looks very nice. This one is okay, but it's often easy to forget that that negative is also applying to the x as well. But this is how you'll often see it printed in exam questions or in solution bank or in the textbook. You'll see the negative hovering outside on the same level as the fraction line. Obviously here, you didn't need to write 2 plus x. If you wanted to, you could have switched it so it was x plus 2, just because that's a bit more of a traditional kind of way how it might look. So you might have seen it as minus x plus 2 over x plus 4. That's another way you could see that. What were you going to say, Small?
Well, you see when the last one,
Yeah.
you said if it's hovering out on the sides,
Yep.
doesn't mean it only applies to the top, the numerator.
Well, actually, it doesn't matter. It's either applying to the numerator or the denominator. Because if you think about how positives and negatives work, it's either a negative divided by a positive, or it's a positive divided by a negative. it's still going to be the same answer. The key thing to note is that this negative hovering outside the front does not apply to both of them. Because if it applied to both of them, you would have a negative divided by a negative, and the negative doesn't even need to be there anymore. Okay? So that's a really good question. Does it apply to the numerator or the denominator? It doesn't matter because of the fact that positives divided by negatives is the same as negative divided by positives. We just tend to pull it up to the top here. I could have, if I wanted to, had it at the bottom, but there's no point in having it at the bottom. We just traditionally put it at the top. It's a bit like if you have a fraction and you say you've got 2 over 7. If I wanted to say minus 2 sevenths, I would either say minus 2 sevenths or I would say minus 2 over 7. You probably wouldn't say 2 over minus 7, even though all three of these things mean the same as each other. That's a really, really good question. Thank you for asking that one. Ikrim?
So, sir, all three of the answers are right.
All three of these answers are right. Okay, all three.
So can you simplify it even more, as in like get out of this fraction?
What you will do, what we're going to learn in the next part of this topic, is this is what we call a top-heavy fraction. You can actually divide these things, and you can get, like, you know, when you do division, you have like an answer plus a remainder. That's what we're going to learn to do next, how you can divide these things to have an answer and a leftover remainder part, which we'll do for the next part of this topic. So we're going to have a look at some questions from exercise 7A, and we're going to do that for probably about 15 minutes, so we can do a bit of practice on those. Okay?
How did you get that?
Which one?
-2 over
Oh, this was just a separate example. I was just saying where the negatives belong. I literally picked a random fraction, okay? So I said you can either have the negative outside the front, in the top. You could have it in the bottom. We just don't tend to do that. All of these things mean the same as each other, okay?